Morning. We would like to welcome you to this conference. We hope that you will enjoy it. And I'm going to start talking today about our implementation at CCC and BIM. So the objective of my presentation is to talk about, first, using lean construction project management tools to enhance productivity on a project. How we do it. CCC, we have been implementing project control systems for the last 20 years, and BIM, we have been developing and using BIM-type applications the last 5 to 6 years, and I want to share with you some ideas and insights. So I'm not going to talk about just BIM itself. I'm going to talk about project control using BIM. Okay, so the outline of my presentation is, first we'll talk about objectives, presenter introduction, a little bit about history, because to understand what we are doing now, you have to understand how we reached here. And then we're going to talk about 2 case studies, Abu Dhabi Airport project and Habshan 5. Since we are in Abu Dhabi, we'll talk about Abu Dhabi experiences. And then a brief demo of C3D Interactive, which is the software we're using to do all these things. And then if you have any questions and answers. So the objective, again, is to talk about what is needed to build a successful BIM implementation. It's not just modeling. Modeling is the beginning. How do you link? BIM is about building information management. How do you link information to your model? And then how do you analyze and how do you use it and how do you build these things? So I think the major components in BIM is about advanced modeling, and when I talk about advanced modeling, is a methodology of modeling that will allow you to link the data. Without it, you will not achieve a lot. The software tools that you may need, you're needing to link to data. So the data in you need software tools to manage material, to manage schedule, to manage many other things in the project, progress measurement, and so on. So you need these software tools, all of them, to be able to work together. Then to link them, you need a data linkage standard. So you need to, from the beginning, especially if you have like the Abu Dhabi airport, we have so many subcontractors. We have to talk to them each and agree on how they are going to produce the models and the data associated with it so that we can bring it into our systems. Then methodologies. The client asks for end value analysis. We have to set up a procedure so everybody follows the same so that we can produce an end value analysis, not for only our work, which is we're doing the basic concrete and a few other things, but for structural steel, the roof is very complex, the electromechanical, everybody has to model and quantify these models so that we can produce end value analysis. And then we want to use it to become productive in our construction. As Martin mentioned, construction is one of the very few industries that have been losing productivity, not gaining it. And we hope that by using BIM, we can start improving productivity, and I'll show you a test case, 1 or 2 test cases. So we are going to talk about where we are now and where we hope to go in the future. So a little bit information on myself. I'm currently the CIO of CCC. I'm also in charge. We have a spin-off company that produces software. I'm chairman and chief software architect for CCT. Got my BSc from California State University in Chico, and MSc from construction management at Stanford University. I did 4 years first as a site engineer in CCC, and then after my master's, I worked 3 years at Bechtel as a estimation until I got swept. At that time, the IT revolution started. I got swept in the revolution and became an IT guy. Then I rejoined CCC for the last 28 years in Athens as an IT manager and now the CIO. I also am very active internationally in R&D. I'm a member of SciFi, Stanford Integrated Facility, and I forgot the name. Okay, and we worked, one of the interesting projects we did was I co-supervised a PhD research on using neural networks to produce simulation for optimal implementation of planning of finishing in very complex building. The CMU project in Qatar, was very complex. The architect is famous, and he produced unbelievable complexity in finishing. To try to use Primavera just to plan it, couldn't. So we came up with this solution. The other thing, I'm the member of Board of Advisors at FIATEC. FIATEC is a group of companies building large facilities. We are a sister association to CII, and we push for better use of IT in facilities. And one of the things that FIATEC is famous for is the ISO 15926 standard to make data transmission between systems very transparent. Also, I'm member of IPLOCA, Novel R&D Committee, where I'm concentrating there on handheld devices because pipelines is so long and very hard to have central IT anywhere. We use handhelds for project control all over the pipeline. And last but not least, we are a member of the Anchor 5DI initiative, where the top European companies are sharing their vision about what they need in 5D and 4D and BIM and all these things. And we as CCT, with Autodesk, Bentley, RIB, and Tekla, were chosen as the best companies who have the answers. And we are very proud to be with Autodesk, Bentley, RIB, and Tekla. We are an Arab company, software development company, and we are with these guys. Most of them are here today, also in the conference, and you'll be able to see them and giving you all the possible solutions for BIM implementations. So CCC, just to give you a quick overview, we are formed in 1952 in Lebanon. We moved to Athens after the civil war in Lebanon. We have around 110,000 people in our worldwide operation. Our revenue, goes up and down $4 to $6 billion. CCC is an ISO. We are safety and quality certified. We are predominantly a construction company. We do construction, not engineering, not procurement. I say we are the C of EPC in many places. Oil and gas, petrochemical works, pipelines, building and civil engineering, marine works. And we started to double with maintenance. We do EPC, but on a small scale. Currently ranked 17th in the ANR top, that's 2012. Ranked first in the Middle East in 2012. And CCT is the technology arm of CCC, established in 1998. These are some of the mechanical projects we've done. Pipelines, buildings and infrastructure, and more buildings. So our story, just to give you a background on the data first and then the 3D. So CCC in 1970s started to double with IT. We brought a few NCRs. We did some financial applications, accounting, payroll, even estimation and budgeting. And so 1980, the PC revolution. As I told you, I started in Bechtel, and then it was the center. Apple was there, IBM was there, so I got involved in the PC, and then CCC offered me to come and move them into the PC era. So we started implementing networks. We moved all the application from EVACs to the PCs. And 1990, the start of the big boom in oil and gas development in the Middle East. And CCC rose to the challenge. The first project we had was Das Island, LNG project. If you know Das Island, you are in UAE, it's a small island with so much facilities on it, you can't really store anything. We had a big project to update it, so we needed to store all material in Mina Zayed, fabricate, do all the prefabrication in Saadiyat Island at the NPCC yard, our sister company NPCC, and then move everything when we need to build it to Das Island. So we had a lot of logistics. We had to do a software. First, I want to build something, I need all the components, so the scope. Second, I need to receive material coming from so many suppliers all over the world. So we need material management, and we need logistics to know every week. People will say, okay, I want to build the following. We were able to detail all the components needed and send them, control the barge loading and sending the material to Das Island. So that's what we call Talisman. Talisman became the database of the project, all the takeoffs in the project, all the information about material coming, so material management, logistics, and we added a little bit about quality control so we can hand over the project. This is what we call talisman. Full talisman issued, project, what we call project ERP system. Then one of our managers decided that to be able to grow, many companies were coming and they were, because material was late, drawings were late, claims were happening, the cost of the projects were going very high. He said, okay, to the companies, I'm going to give you guarantee that we will not claim. We'll manage the risk with you. We'll put a contingency and manage the risk with you. And we'll guarantee you the price for construction. So this was a lot of risk assumed by CCC, and we had to develop tools to manage this risk. We got a lot of projects. We were the C of EPC. That's how we grew. But then we had to manage it, and the best way to manage it is through IT. Once we have Talisman with all the material needed, we had the information when the material was arriving, so we started managing this. One of the first problems we faced was how do you do progress measurement? Because some of the projects took us 1.5 years to reach 95, 96%, and then another year to complete the project, because everybody was doing ambitious. Primavera, I am 50% in this activity, 60%, and you couldn't validate. So we needed to go to the level of the object. So we said, how can we validate progress? So we said, okay, this activity foundations in area 1, count the foundations, how many foundations we have, 20. Then if you say you are 50, you should be 10 foundations complete. If not, you're not 50% complete. So we went down to what to call the level of the object. The level of the object, very easy to validate. You go to the site, done, not done. Then we said, okay, now we need a little bit more accuracy. So we said each foundation, what does it have? Concrete, rebar, formwork. So we put these operations, so level 5 was the Primavera activity, level 6 was the objects, and level 7 was the operations. And this way we were able to measure, first, the scope of the project, and second, to validate progress. So now we can know exactly, and this is we call pyramid. All our names, Talisman, Pyramid, are Arabic names. So object level. And then we started saying, okay, we're managing risk. We want to see and tell our partner if they are late in material or drawings, we want to show them. So we started doing small simulations based on the Primavera project. What are we doing next week and the week after and the week after? Take off, because we have, remember, we had intelligent take off. We need all this material per week. So now we were able to show if, and we knew when the material was arriving. So we did a simulation and show them if we are, and we consider drawings as material. So we were showing them if we will have enough material and drawings to be able to do the schedule. And this is called material forward plan. We call it material forward planning, some sort of simulation. Now, to be able to receive all this information, like the shipping data and the take-off data directly from 3D model, because mechanical industry was already using PDS, PDMS, and you'll see them today. We needed a data standard, EDI, we call it the Electronic Data Interface Standard. So we were, for every project, we would go agree with our partners what tools they are using and how we're going to receive the frequency and the quality of the data we're going to receive. And now we are doing it with BIM. So now these are all relevant issues that we were doing them in the 1990 and now we're still doing them. So we have seen at that time the PDS, PDMS, the mechanical 3D design. And now, at the end of the 1990s, we started shifting back to civil projects. So we said, we need to move this back to civil. In mechanical, it does very well. Why shouldn't we do it in civil? Then we said we needed a tool to do better viewing and linking of data, because the viewers at that time, you're talking 1990, around year 2000, did not have good data connectivity. And we went to all the suppliers of viewers, and we tried to convince them, we'll pay them if they do data connectivity. They refused at that time. They didn't have the capability. So we said we're going to do it ourselves. So we established CCT. we started working on two types of software. One is VBC, which is document management, but it wasn't really document management. It was what we call temporal database. I want to know at this time of the day, at this time, what was the work, the content of work in this, the drawing. So it's not only drawing management, it is data management, temporal data, with time. So versions, different versions, what's the scope? So we can compare what changed between one revision or the other. And the second thing was C3D, a 3D viewer, but with concentration on data connectivity. So VBC release 1 was issued, and we started working on C3D. I didn't know how hard it was. If I had known, maybe I wouldn't have done it. But now C3D is there, and you will see a presentation by Selby how easy it is to link data. So around 2004, we really wanted to do BIM. So we started looking at modeling software to do BIM. And we found we liked Bentley's Triforma. And I established the first, we took like some money, and we said, Sam Absi, go and create a small unit in Egypt to start building BIM models, so that whenever we get a civil project, a building project, we can model it. And the first major one was in Qatar, the شو اسمه الأوتيل يا سام؟ Sorry? Ritz-Carlton. They challenged us, the quantity surveyors, before we were still bidding the job, and the quantity surveyor said we cannot do it in 3 weeks. I got Isam and his team, put them in a room, told them we have 3 weeks, give me the quantities. We established the quantities, we bid the job, we got it. They claim we made some few mistakes, so we got the job. And we started trying to manage the takeoffs using BIM. We did it in Golden Pyramid, Dubai Mall, and now in the airport in Abu Dhabi, and we hope soon to go to the, just got a big job in Riyadh, the metro, use BIM there. So we released C3D, the beta release, we started continuously improving, and as from 2007 till now, we have been implementing and improving our implementations in using BIM tools and project to really, how do we pay for BIM? It's expensive, but it's more expensive. Yesterday we took some of the presenters here to the airport, and the project director said, yes, it's expensive, but it's more expensive not to have it. So we are implementing best practices in BIM. We are creating standards. We're telling people, because as I said, we have so many subcontractors in the airport. They all have to, the client mandated BIM, which helps us. So all the subcontractors are willing to listen to our standard. They're doing their models to our standard, and we're able to bring their data in. At that time, we also, recently we think, after the experience with Stanford and using simulation to find the best alternative to build finishing works in a project, we built a simulation department within CCT and started to produce some good results. Now, one thing we were missing was handover systems. And Atlas, our system-oriented now. When you do planning by area usually. At the end of the project, when you hand over, you have to hand over by system. The drainage system, the water system, the HVAC, and so on. So Atlas is a system-oriented handover system, also linked to the object level, and you go up along the tree of system-oriented. So every component in our building knows what system it belongs, system and subsystem it belongs to. This is a duct for HVAC. This is a concrete foundation. We know that it's concrete system, and so on. Then we said, okay, we have so many reports, nobody knows where to see them all. So we created the dashboard, where a one-stop shop for data reporting. Again, mobile solutions are very important because we need to update progress. How do you update progress now on paper? But in the future, it will be using handhelds, tablets, and so on. We just released C3D Android. iOS, I don't know if we're going to produce Apple, because Apple, C3D is written in Java, and Apple refuses to allow us to use Java on an Apple environment. we're looking for solutions. And as I told you, we have a very ambitious, the client imposed a lot of requirements on us in the Abu Dhabi terminal, but I think we are meeting these challenges. Assam and Ashraf will show you tomorrow what we are doing on the midfield terminal. And definitely we're moving to the cloud like everybody, especially with, I don't know about C3D, but the ability to produce smaller models from within C3D and sending them to the user so they can update and send back the data through the cloud, Dropbox and all these things. So how am I doing for time? Okay. So this is our CC full project controls. At the heart is planning, and I say this is the most important thing. Martin showed you a small tool about new methods of planning, and I think what I believe strongly is that planning needs to change. Primavera does not tell you, it will give you a target, but it doesn't tell you how to meet it. You need better tools to plan so that you have what I call the laminar flow of work on a project. And BIM gives you the big part of it because BIM produces the scope. You need to know the elements, just in time. What's lean construction? Lean construction is just in time for construction. Just in time, you need to have the material and the resources ready and the drawings ready when you want to do the work. So the first thing you need to know what material you need. And this is the role of BIM. And then BIM needs to be able to bring you information about the drawings and any constraints, availability of crews, and so on. So this is the setup we have done for our project control, and we believe with this setup we can do. And at C3D, at the middle links to everything. Okay, we have, as you said, we need methodology, standardized methodology. I'm not going to go for long. So we have lean-based, reliant, pull-driven technique, assures availability of resources before start of activity, emphasize productivity through the full cycle, because when we used to do cost control, we said, if this operation is very optimized, everything will be optimized. No, you have to make optimization through the whole chain, so that some activities may not be at full optimum, but the whole chain is optimized. I'll give you an example later. So you want to prevent sub-optimization. The last thing, we need partnering. We're not going to increase productivity by fighting. We believe that by partnering, we get better productivity. You need a standardized way to divide the project. So we have, and the lowest levels is the object and the operation. And then we'll talk about integrated EPC schedule with emphasis on handover. So we believe that you should do the construction schedule and go back to engineering and procurement. Delaying engineering and procurement results in very bad work, turbulent work on site, and losses. A 3D model built with WBS in mind, again, to be able to link all this information. The 3D model has to adhere to the WBS. Early cooperation with partners, and definitely EDI standards, and we're pushing for ISO 1596, for IFC, and all these data standards. So if you do a model, everybody should be able to read it. Not you need, if you do a model in Revit, only Revit can read it. If you do a model on using Bentley, only Bentley software can read it. It needs to be adhering to a standard so everybody could read it. Again, I believe that the most important exercise that you do is the 3-month look-ahead schedule. If you do a 3-month look-ahead schedule detailed, you will have good work on site. If you don't do the 3-month look-ahead schedule, nothing will happen. We will still have the same problems you're having now. Using BIM tools, not Primavera. Detail more, go to the level of the object and the operation. And then for site coordination, you need 3-week look-ahead schedule. So I'm going to talk about one case. I think I have 5 minutes. Selpi is here in charge of controlling my time. So I talk too much, and they put me, it's not working, your counter. Okay, this is the airport midfield terminal building, very large project, around 700,000 square meters. We are partnering with TAV and, sorry, I forget names. Okay. So the client, we're doing a lot of BIM, and as I told you, Isam and Ashraf tomorrow will show you what we are doing, the full scope we're doing of BIM. But the client asked for earned value payment certificate. So if we do it, they will give us the money. And so we said, we'll do it. So this is the methodology we came up. Import BIM model into C3D. Get the MTO also from the mill, because every time we do a BIM model, we do the MTO, corresponding MTO. So we know for every object, what's the formwork, what's rebar, what. So we know everything about how the content of work of every object. Remember level 6, the object level, the foundation. We know all these quantities, quantification. So then we need to link the 3D objects to each their corresponding activity. So if foundations in area 1, all the foundations area 1, we collect them and put them in that activity. So now we know. I remember how we measure progress. If you do two foundations, but now not only the number of foundations, we know how much concrete in every foundation, how much rebar in every foundation, and how much formwork in every foundation. So this gets linked to the activity, and we know now how much work have been done, dollars or whatever, or percent completion for every activity. And it's all traceable, and it's all the linkage is you click on an activity, you see all the objects below it. So assign 3D object to relate progress operation templates. So for a concrete foundation, instead of having to do, we said standardized templates, concrete, rebar, formwork. We don't know if it has like water treatment, we're not looking at it. And then we update progress based on site actual activities. So the client can come, take a list and go check it was done, not done. So if, for example, this is a 3D model of the gate. This is the takeoff, the WBS here, and then the if you notice here, it's the standard naming convention. A column will always have column, so that we can find all the columns in the building. And so level 6 is the object. So every time we produce a model, we get the level 6, the object level, each foundation, each column, each beam, each slab, and the corresponding quantities in level 7. So this is how we link. We select an activity, we select a floor, we say give us all the columns. This activity is columns in floor 1, give us all the columns of floor 1. So this automatically now there is a linkage between, and these are repeatable. Once we do it once, it's like a macro, and it will happen again and again if the model is changing. And the number of times the model changed is unbelievable. I don't know what's happening, but they keep changing the models and the design. Because a lot of coordination is happening with the electromechanical contractors and the baggage handling and all these things, so they keep moving things around. So if we have to do it again every time we issue a model, nobody will use the system. Okay. So then we assign the progress templates, and we start. So now we have the progress templates, and then we have 2 screens, and we're collecting progress. It takes 2 people now, and we had a meeting with the commercial manager of the airport. He said they are replacing 20 QSs if we had to do it using QS. So 2 took 20. That's just for the earned value. All the other coordination benefits are there. So, and even we linked it to our document management. So we not only collect progress for physical activities, we collect progress for non-model. You cannot model shop drawing production because we get paid for shop drawing production. So now we can give also earned value for our engineering progress. These are the progress steps. So basically, we do EV calculations. If you're interested, Walid Mansi, where's Walid Mansi? He'll be here tomorrow. He will explain what we are doing, how we're calculating the EV. We wrote a lengthy procedure about that. And so now we see that from the BIM model, data goes to C3D. From Primavera, the activities are loaded into C3D. The site progress goes into the progress system and then linked to C3D. And then we get all sorts of reports, 3D PDF, activity completion, and the monthly payment. These are the three components. PDF, we send the client PDF colorized. We print it in PDF, 3D PDF format and send it to the client. He can look, can take it, or he can access reports directly from C3D. We gave them a terminal. We're not hiding. We're partnering. We're not hiding information. And they can continue. And the future is that we will create these into a handheld, and the foreman directly will give him the work he has supposed to do next 3 weeks, 3-week look at schedule, and he will update. Not only will give him the schedule, we'll give him all the drawings he needs, the quality control forms, and so on, so that he will have on his template all he needs to do the work. All the documents, all the drawings, all the forms, whatever he needs to do the work, he will have it. The people he has, and so on. So this is our idea of daily report, and I'm going to stop here and let Selby work. There was another product, another implementation for mechanical. I just want to show you the productivity gains we gained from there. This is also in Habshan 5. We were also modeling the scaffolding, because scaffolding is one critical element. You don't have scaffolding, you can do piping. This is just to give you an idea. This is what we faced in Habshan. We went into Habshan project. The project manager, Zuhair Haddad, is a very pro-IT guy. He said, I am having productivity problem. Analyze the situation. And we looked at this. This is the spools to be erected. And you look at this spools in Fab Shop. This is erected spool. This one is in the Fab Shop. Why? If you have just in time, this should be ready to be erected. So we started giving work orders to the fab. Why would the foreman not do what we need to do? Because he was sub-optimizing. He will do all the heavy spools at the beginning to show he has very good productivity. So we forced him to do, now we would give him for every week work orders. What do we need to do so that within 3 weeks we will be able to erect them? Because it takes us 2 to 3 weeks to go through the Fab Shop painting cycle. Okay, and the productivity, the same thing for equipment, and this is the work order. Sorry, this is a work order for erection. We did also for fabrication and for painting. And this we show and these are the productivity that we achieved. Nearly double the product, 70% I think it was. And we did it not only in Habshan, we did it SAS project also, and QFD. All of them are in Abu Dhabi, I think. So basically, I think the planning, my message to you, the planning, BIM will benefit you a lot if you start changing how we do planning.
Hi, I'm Salpi Kashishian. I'm leading the implementation of C3D software on the project. And what we're going to highlight today is how we take full advantage of the information and the rich model that's coming from BIM. And I'm going to highlight some of the points that Mr. Haddad also mentioned in his presentation. Okay. Okay, just to give you an idea about my outline, what I'm going to be showing. First of all, we're going to show you how we bring in a 3D model from the BIM, and then how we take full advantage of the information. So I'm going to show you how we build a hierarchy in the 3D model using the information coming from the BIM. After that, we bring in the material takeoff, which is also a report that we get on a regular basis from the BIM team. How we're going to make a link, a visual link between the material, the quantities, and the 3D model. Taking it a step forward, we're going to show you how we bring in the Primavera schedule, make a link between the WBS level 5, go down to level 6 and 7 to reach the WBS that Mr. Haddad was speaking of. If we have enough time, because I'm already taking a little bit from the break, I'll show you the link to the document management system depending on how it goes. Yeah? Till 11. Okay. Okay, so this is, we took a sample, couple of models from a sample project, and we've kept it gray on purpose to show you what kind of functionalities there are. This is a product called C3D Interactive. It's an easy-to-use C3D software. We're trying to market it for the users on site that are not very IT-oriented. So it's an environment easier than previous versions, you can say, that we had. And we're going to show you how we can do all of this on the spot right now together. All right, so this is our BIM model, and it's following our naming convention from the project. So you're going to see that we have the WBS on every object, which is unique and persistent throughout the project life cycle. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to build the hierarchy. Now you're going to see here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my class hierarchy. In a typical WBS, I'm going to start from the building, go to the floor, go to the object, and the lowest level of geometry we have in C3D is something we call the component. So that's our starting point here. And you're going to see here some of the information that we get with the model. So you can see the WBS clearly, level 1, 2, 3, and 4, which allows us to be flexible with our data setup. So I'm going to create my classes over here. So I just create my tree structure on the fly, and then you can set the data structure that you want. So for the sake of this example, I'm just going to keep it simple. Okay. I'm going to give the object class just an ID, which is coming from the member mark, the tag from BIM, which floor and which building it belongs to. Okay. And here you have the option to pull in the information from the BIM model. So I have a tree structure, it's completely empty, and from this drop-down list you can see here where I can pull in my data. So the object is the member mark, and we agree on a common naming convention from the beginning, so we know how to expect the data that's coming from BIM. And this is one of the biggest key points, is that we standardize and we stick to the standards. Level 3 is the floor, level 2 is the building. I'll continue to the floor in the same way. Okay, you notice that I'm putting a key. The key for every class in C3D is what makes it unique. It's what identifies it. So starting with the object, it's the tag, and going up, it's the building and the floor. Finally, with the building class, we'll just put the building. Now I'm going to show you here a little bit more flexibility, that the BIM model is giving us the floor ID and the building ID. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add a description to show you how we can also add more intelligence to the model and the data we have by taking input from the user. So I'm going to put a description here and show you how we can edit this later. Okay, so I know that the building is coming from the building and the description is empty because I don't have it coming from anywhere. Okay, so by doing this, there's a set of steps now that are going to execute by themselves. It gives you a preview of what's happening in the back end. It's telling you that here you have the list of objects, which is our level 6. So I'll just commit those because I confirmed that I want it. It takes me to the next level, which is the floor, one level higher. It shows me the list of floors in this model. Going up to the highest level, which is the building, and I can finally commit the last level. Now here, if I want, I can just change this description or add a description. And you can see here that we also taken data from the end user. Now what's happening here? We created our hierarchy, we have the model. How do we see it? Here on the left-hand side, we have something we call a layout, which shows us our geometry, how we've done the grouping. So you start with the building, which shows us we have the podium. It has 7 floors and a mezzanine. So if we go down in one of the floors, it'll show you here all the tags. This is called C3D Interactive because it allows you to be interactive in terms of data setup. It also allows you to be interactive in terms of how you're viewing the data. So it zooms into the object, it shows you exactly what you're pointing to on the tree. And finally, the lowest level, which is the geometry. It's a little bit gray, so it doesn't show that much. Okay. So this is the 3D model. This is a very small example to show you. You can expand your hierarchy as much as you need to, depending on the data coming. The next step is when the BIM sends us the material. So the material takeoff report comes with every revision of the model. And we saw in the presentation a sample of this report, which has the BOQs, the quantities, and the member marks. So it tells us each object in the project what material it consists of. So I'm going to show you how C3D Interactive has something called connectors, which is how we bring data into the system to manipulate it. We can link to Oracle databases, we can import Excel, Access, and Microsoft SQL Server, and also we can import different scheduling softwares like Microsoft Project, Primavera, and so on. I'm going to start with the easiest example, which is the Excel, and I'm going to go ahead and pick the takeoff for this model. Okay. So if this Excel sheet has 2, 3, 4, however many sheets it has, you can see they're available for you here. You just select what you want. Okay, and you're going to tell him where do you want to put this information. Do you want to bring it in as a table and do nothing with it? Do you want to create for it a class and link it to the 3D model? So this depends on how you want to design your data environment. I'm going to import this as an MTO class so I can link it to my model, and I'll create a new class for it. Again, you just point to your uniqueness and you import. Okay, so where can I see this? You see here now we have a new class called MTO coming into the system with the data. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go straight ahead and I'm going to create the relation. Because you know that every object has consists of material. So I just make a relation here in C3D between two classes. And I'm going to use the MTO table because it has both. It has the MTO key and it has the key of the 3D model, which is the member mark. Again, how to visualize these relations that we're creating. If I come here, you can see in our layout that we took the standard hierarchy that I made, building floor object. I'm going to add one more level now, which is the MTO. And you can see here that when I choose to expand, it detects the relations that are on this class only. It doesn't give me everything. So it guides me on how to create my tree. So let's see how we can see now. Okay. So now what you're doing is on the fly, you can create an environment where starting from the highest level, you go down and you reach each and every tag in the model, what kind of takeoff the BIM have placed on this object. You can see it here in more details in the iBox, which Mr. Zuhair was talking about, filtering, grouping, different kind of sorting. This is our environment to manipulate the data and then create some visual reports, which I'm going to show you an example of that now. Okay. So this iBox here contains all the material I have for everything loaded. And I'm going to choose a sample report. That's why the model is gray now. I'm going to send a report out to a subcontractor that he needs to see what kind of objects need curved formwork. So I have everything here in my MTO iBox. I'm going to go ahead and make a filter. In C3D iBox, you have different types of filtering. You have the quick search where you can do a search on the fly. And you have more complex searches if you need to do and or and different conditions. So let's take the BOQ description and we say curve. Okay? So by applying this filter, you can see that we actually have two results coming back to us. We have the formwork and we have the concrete. So in my case, I want only the formwork. I can again do it two ways. I can go in and change the filter from inside, or I can just make my life easy and add a filter here in the quick search to include only the formwork. All right, now we do the colorization. So in my iBox, I'll just say colorize. It detects for me what kind of material I have. I don't care about the material description, so I can just edit that if I want, and add my own formula. So I want to give everything curved formwork, I want to give it red, the color red. Okay, so we'll call that formwork curved. Now what you see here on the right hand side, okay, nothing. Okay, I just have to add one more step here. Okay. Okay, so let's see. Sorry, my filter I think was... I'll just do this one more time. Okay, so that contains, because I put it equal before, so it didn't read it. Okay, so you see here that it automatically picked up for me all the objects that have curved formwork, and you can actually confirm this because if you zoom in into the model, you can see that everything in red is actually the curved slabs and so on. Now this is very nice inside C3D, but what about the people who don't have interactive on their machines? And you need to send this to them. So this is here where we're going to go ahead and export this to 3D PDF. You can export your hierarchy if you want to give some intelligence to the model. You can give a title. You can call this curved formwork, let's say. And you can export your legend. Anything in gray is not available, and anything in red is the curved. Okay, so I'll go ahead and export that. Okay. Okay. So this is one of the sample reports. You can see here that it's not anymore about taking a static snapshot. Before, when we used to do implementation, our biggest worry was how can we get all the information out to the people who don't have C3D in front of them. Now, with the PDF 3D, you can navigate, you can zoom into the model, you can see all the objects that you need to without having, for this sample model, let's say 20 different perspective views. And of course, we take out the legend so that he can understand from the color coding what this color is supposed to mean. The next step we have is the schedule. I'm going to show you quickly how we import the Primavera schedule, how the hierarchy is going to be automatically built based on the relations from Primavera, and do a very quick demo on how we link the schedule to level 6 as per the WBS. Okay. So you see here, these are the different schedule formats that we import. You have the Microsoft project, you have the Exchange, you have database, you have different types. I'm going to go ahead and use the XCR that we have, which is a P6 schedule. And different things are going to happen. You're going to see a Gantt chart is created for you automatically, showing the WBS up to level 5. You also have all the relations that we just created manually will be created for you automatically, showing the activities, the resources, the activity relationship between successors and predecessors, the calendars. Any information that exists in the schedule, it comes here, it's created as a data structure and displayed in the Gantt chart. What we want to do is we want to link it to the 3D model. So let's say I want to do some filtering to find an activity that acts on columns and walls. So I'll take one sample activity. First I need to make the relation. Okay. So we just link the two classes using a C3D relation. Okay. And now we can go ahead and start making the link. So you see here, this is the screen that Mr. Zuhair was showing when you're linking level 5 to level 6. This is the activity. It has no objects yet because this is an empty project. I haven't done anything yet. And then I'm going to go to the objects and pay attention that this activity is actually on floor 3, I think. Yes, it's on floor 3. So in the object properties, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make my filter. And by the way, if it wasn't for the naming convention that BIM are following religiously in the member mark, they would make our job almost impossible. But because of this naming convention, you can see with a simple filter here, just saying PD03, which is my WBS, and the object type, in just one click, I can link all the objects to its relevant activity. So I can just choose them right here, and we say, populate these objects into this activity. And you're done. You're good to go for level 6. Okay. I'm going to bring that here and do one more modification to our layout. So you can see here we started with the activity, and these are the different relations I have on the activity from the schedule. I'm going to keep it simple and just show you what I just did, which is the object. And if we go to this activity that I just worked on, you can see that automatically all the objects are, all the activities are dimmed. They have a flat icon, except for the one that I just linked to the 3D model. And you can see here, if I expand this, it'll show me the description of the activity, and it'll show me the objects that I just linked to it. In the same way, I think, do we have time for VBC or? Yeah? Okay. 5 minutes over? Should I wrap up? Okay. So just to show you the flexibility, we had prepared a little bit more to show you our link to the document management system. I'll tell you really quickly how easy it is. How you got in the schedule and you linked it to the objects, you get in the documents and you link them to the objects. And you can create any hierarchy you want. If you have procedures that need, auditing procedures that need to be applied on the objects, you just get them from the document management system as a PDF format. And I think I'll wrap up with that. Okay, if you have any questions, we're going to be on the booth today and tomorrow, so please join us for a more elaborate live demo. Thank you.